Hi everyone, this is Andrew Vogel. I'm here to talk to you about flexibility and autism. Very, very important and can obviously be very difficult in different moments. And I'm excited to do this video today because I'm really trying to offer on YouTube and my Facebook page exactly what I give to clients in a session. And that doesn't mean that you can't schedule a session with me. You're more than welcome to contact me. I do Zoom sessions, and no matter where you are in the world, I'm happy to do that. But this is really about me giving away everything I know for free. And so I packed a lot into this 10-minute video, and then part two, another 10 minutes where we get into more specifics. And I hope you really get something out of it. And I hope you ask me questions and we can get into more detail about your child or your student. The first thing I want to teach is experience versus discussion. We have to provide children the experience to become flexible. We cannot teach this through discussion, okay? So I want to help professionals and parents really save your breath, save your energy, and not have to waste all this time discussing. Children on the spectrum need to experience. Why? Because they need to see the benefit of being flexible, okay? They don't think they need to be flexible. That's the problem, okay? And they think they're fine. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're right, and we're wrong, okay? So they don't see the problem of that, and that's why they need to experience, because part of the experience is they're challenged with something new or a disappointment or a change that I will explain how to implement. We're not going to wait for it to happen. We're going to implement that. And then they need to experience what the heck is the benefit, okay? And that could be more fun with the person they're with, okay? That could be more opportunities on the topic of their interest, okay? So a big thing that I teach, just to kind of pause for a minute, is that children on the spectrum make a choice. And then when we teach them, we provide this choice. This choice is control versus fun, okay? Fun is engaging with others, having fun with others. Okay, control is controlling their environment, which oftentimes pushes out others. And we're presenting that choice to them. When children come to me and their parents bring them to me, it's often that they are choosing the control too much. And that's creating a lot of friction in their lives and in the lives of the people that are around them, okay? So that's very, very important. Okay, now we need to talk about or decide what we're going to work on. What are they inflexible about? And is that thing significant? Okay, if it's insignificant, then we want to really focus on really what's the problem. If you look at their day, it could be something at home and it could be something at school. Now, if it's at school, you can talk to teachers and find out if they're actually going to school right now. That's a whole nother discussion. And you can find out what is going on, and then you can replicate it at home, and we'll talk about doing that, okay? So what's the issue? Now, this brings up the environment that they're going to teach them, and this is where we think of ourselves and what do we need as parents and teachers. So once we find out what that is, then we can have an exercise. Again, we're going to implement changes. We're not going to wait. That is a huge reason why kids don't grow and parents become frustrated and give up, is because they are waiting for the disappointment to occur. They're waiting for the tantrum to occur. And so that's too difficult. We want to really take control of what we're teaching. And by doing that, we're going to think, what is the best thing to teach the child? Next, we can also say, what's the best ways? Meaning, how gradual and gentle do I need to be? If we're too gentle, the child doesn't learn anything, okay? If we throw too much of the child, then they shut down and then they don't learn anything. So there's a real balance here in terms of what you're giving them. Okay, examples of what you might work on. Your child plays a game, but your child has to play that game the exact same way with the exact same rules. Your child has to win every single time, no matter what, or even has to be ahead, not even the win. Your child has to bring the exact same items out with them to school, to the store, wherever they go. And that may be possible. On the other hand, it may cause problems. Your child has to sit maybe at the same spot on the dinner table, maybe at the same spot at a desk, okay? Or maybe won't come to the desk if it's a group activity at school. Okay, now we want to talk about the environment. What are we going to do? This is where we help ourselves as professionals or parents. This is not an easy feat. We are trying to take a child who is on this path to become less and less flexible because that's what they're comfortable with. They don't see the purpose in, like I said, in all of this flexibility stuff. Why be flexible? You know, that's not me. That's not what I'm about. Okay, so what do we do? So with younger children sometimes, or sometimes children that are really stuck, we use what I call a playroom, and that's just any room at home where you want to be able to close the door. I don't want you running through the house with a child, with you behind the child all the time. That's not a way to create flexibility. We want lots and lots of interactions, many back and forths between you and the child. And so you want to be able to be in some kind of room, bedroom, living room that's closed off, basement, playroom, anything like that. Okay. Now, this could be happening out in the community. That's fine. It could be at a store. Could be at the, out in a park or wherever. It could be a sporting event. If it's at school, again, if you're at school with the child, you can work on the stuff. If you're not, if you're the parent, you want to talk to school and you want to replicate that game at home. So whether it's wall ball or some kind of handball, basketball, soccer, you want to play with your child at home with that game. This is about being organized. So we're not taking a child who's inflexible and then we're having them do something different other than what they're inflexible on. We want to really start very, very concrete, very simple, very consistent. And I understand that the biggest problem is that we're kind of working against this strong need for consistency. But if we don't start with this kind of like kind of a security where the anxiety's down, then we go to the less consistent, which I'll talk about. We have to really start that way. Okay, now it's time to talk about what we're actually going to do. And this is the way to be on the right path with that. You are going to be obviously the adult. Now, adults are consistent, they are accepting, accommodating. All those things are great for lowering anxiety. They're not great for teaching flexibility, but it's a great place to start. This is the reason why we don't just put kids with other kids and expect them to get better, is because kids don't have the wherewithal to start as adults and then go to a more kid-like play. Adults can do that. Okay, so when you start playing with your kids, so let's say you are playing in the basement and you're building some kind of castle, okay? You could be out in the park playing soccer, okay? You could be playing a board game. We generally, with flexibility, start with larger objects, larger like inflatable, fluffy, all that big stuff, yoga balls, because it's much easier to start with that and teach flexibility. And then when we get to the more difficult things, the child is going to be ready for it. If we take one of the most difficult and worst things to start with, like a Star Wars Lego set, right? Everything is predetermined and has to be done in an exact way. Okay, and if you start to change things or mess around, the child is going to erupt with anger and frustration right away, and it's going to be very, very difficult. On the other hand, if you are building a wall with these things I have in my office, like inflatable IKEA cubes, or different like kind of like a cushion cube or an ottoman that you can build with, and if that gets knocked over, The child might be frustrated, but not to the extent of something that's more meticulous and very, very fine motor-ish, okay? So we want to start with big things, okay? So what you as the adult parent professional are going to do is you're going to start off mature and adult-like, and then each week become actually less mature, which sounds kind of silly, but you're going to kind of get to that more childlike, okay? A lot of times we've seen our clients or children and they play with someone who's similar age and they get really, really frustrated, right? And so that child that's playing with your child or your student is actually doing exactly what they're supposed to do, but we can't do that as a step one. That's the only problem. That's why it's not growing and going anywhere. So you as an adult, you get less and less mature, which means you become more spontaneous, less predictable, less safe, which is a big one, okay? And less like yourself. So you're coming out of your own comfort to help them do the same.